What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Pylon to Pylon podcast. We got episode 9 here. I'm one of your hosts, Brett Landmeyer.
I'm Kevin Brigham.
And today we got a nice little episode planned. We're going to be going through some news you might need to hear about college football, week 0 recap. Then we're going to give you our picks for week 1. Should be very fun and very exciting. Looking forward to starting this.
I'm excited for week 1. I mean, week 0 was a hell of a kickstart to the college football season. I know you're excited from week 0. Every Notre Dame fan is. I'm excited to see Ohio State football again. So I'm just excited to get back into it.
Yeah. We'll just get right into our news. Kyle McCord officially named starter for the Buckeyes. I just want to go out on record. Kevin and I did say this from the start.
Yeah. I had a feeling it was going to be Kyle McCord from the start because of that connection between him and Marvin Harrison back in high school. I have said it from the beginning. I fully trust Ryan Day with this decision, how it's going to go. I did hear from my dad just a second ago that they are planning on doing a half and a half. So McCord will take the first half and Brown will take the second. I don't know if you heard that, Brett. I didn't read that.
I
You did hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then we can confirm that. They will be doing half and half, which is what I wanted to see. I kind of been starting to lean towards Devin Brown because he seems like maybe he has a little bit more of an upside. But they're both very similar talent-wise, some slight differences between them. But it'll be exciting to see how both of them do. And again, I trust Ryan Day, but it is nice to have a little bit of a sigh of relief that we finally have a starter named. It was getting a little bit late here, so nice to see that happen. How do you feel about it, Brett?
Same as you. Glad a decision was finally made. I think the half and half idea should be a good one. We've been talking about this for weeks, and finally for it to kind of come down to a conclusion has been nice. So I think it's good. That connection with Marvin Harrison is going to be great. And I think any quarterback you put in this Ohio State offense overall is going to be able to run it. You got best receiving core, all of college football. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not worried. Another thing you probably shouldn't be worried about going into some more news from your natty pick for this year out of LSU. Maason Smith is going to be out week 1. He's suspended, I should say, for week 1 from a 2021 violation. He was signing, I believe it was a football, just about a month before all the NIL stuff got legalized. I'm not going to go into how ridiculous the NCAA is. We could talk a whole episode about that. But as an LSU fan, I wouldn't be worried about this. Even though Maason Smith is a hell of a part of their defensive line, he's going to make a big difference when he comes back. But I think they're going to do just fine, as we'll talk about later. How do you feel about it, though, Brett, being your natty pick?
I mean, you said that you're not going to get into how ridiculous the NCAA is, but I will. All right, this is outrageous to suspend this man for week 1. Signing a ball, come on,
Like a month, too. It was not exactly a month, but right about a month before everything got legalized, I would say.
everything is legal now. So, why are you going to punish him for something that happened, 2 years ago? That's outrageous by the NCAA. Just another questionable move.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this leads to eventually teams kind of separating themselves from the NCAA. Maybe they can come together and make a decision to move on, find a better governance group. Not to sound off too much on the NCAA, but they've made some very questionable decisions recently. It's not looking good for them.
Other news we got, Arizona State has self-imposed a bowl ban on themselves. Herm Edwards, their former head coach, violated some recruiting protocols that were taking place back during COVID. Apparently, they were having recruits on campus for visits, which was not allowed. And now this team is going to be taking the hit for it, which is kind of upsetting to see. I was excited to see what this Arizona State team was going to do with Jaden Rashada, but now they're going to not be able to. They're not bowl eligible anymore, so that's unfortunate to see. But I think they were just going to get out in front with it and try to punish themselves before possibly a worse punishment came around, because it seemed, I think from what I read in an article from the Athletic, said that um, the punishment and violations had not been figured out by the NCAA or Pac-12, whoever was in charge of deciding that. So, yeah, what are your thoughts?
They did, on that note, kind of say that it was for like stability purposes, which somewhat makes sense with what you just said there. I don't think it's going to make too big of a difference because I don't think ASU is going to go out and like shine at all this season. So I think down the line they're probably going to be thanking themselves for this. But it is kind of disappointing that we're not going to see, as you said, Jaden Rashada maybe have or get the possibility to kind of will his team and perform his team to a bowl game and see what they can do to generate some hype.
Yeah. Our last news that we wanted to tell you guys is Arik Gilbert, which I've been following Arik Gilbert's career since he was in high school. He was a 5-star tight end prospect, committed to LSU. He looked like he was a sure thing going into college as a guy who was going to succeed. Did not have the best success at LSU. Ended up going to Georgia, but then was in a loaded tight end room the past 2 years behind Bowers and Big O, Darnell Washington. And then he now transferred to Nebraska. He was still waiting to hear if he was cleared for eligibility, since he already used his they got that one-time transfer rule. And since he already used that, he was waiting to hear back if he was going to be eligible to play this season. But yeah, he was caught robbing a vape shop. Not the smartest decision by any means. I don't understand what could be going through his head. He just kind of threw away his whole career with that move. I believe this was kind of already seemed to be his last chance, as it just never seemed like the LSU and Georgia really were going to work out for him. And I was excited to see what Matt Rule and Nebraska had for him. But with him getting caught for burglary, does not appear to be that he will be playing football ever again at this point. So, hope you're happy, Arik Gilbert. You wasted your career.
Very disappointing. As you said, he had a lot of potential coming out of high school. I thought, he maybe could do some special things with Matt Rule in what is, I guess, somewhat of a new startup in Nebraska. Extremely disappointing to see that he won't be playing this season. Kind of took himself out there. If he does get another shot, I really hope he does. I really hope he can take advantage of it. But it's not looking good right now.
Yeah, I don't know at this point if he really deserves another shot. I just feel like there's been so much drama around his name. I feel like I remember at LSU, he was left the team a lot. It's like absent from the team, and it seems kind of like a bit more of a distraction than like a playmaker at this point. So we'll see. I feel like it's probably the end. I doubt Nebraska is going to keep him around, but hopefully they could, help him out a little bit, because clearly something's probably not right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just remember his tape come in high school. He was getting compared to Gronk, just he was big, fast, dominant. Just sad to see that how his kind of career has turned out. I was excited to see it play out, but just not working out that way.
That covers it really for news, though, this week. I know, Brett, you're excited to talk about week 0, given what you're wearing here. So I'll let you take it off. take this one and run with it.
I told you guys 52-0. It was 42-3. I believe I forgot about that the new rule with how the clock's continuous after first downs. I did forget that started this year. So it definitely had an effect on the game, though. It was like watching more of like an NFL game with, teams being. I feel like there was like maybe 3 drives in that first quarter, I believe. Um, Notre Dame had a long one down the field. Navy had a long one, and then Notre Dame had a short drive, I think, at the end. But yeah, 42-3, the Irish won. It was a great day. I was happy to see the boys win, cover. It was the only right pick I gave out last week. Unfortunately, I was 1-3, but this I'll take this as my one. I felt confident that they were going to win this looking in, but I'm telling you, this Notre Dame team is looking real sharp. I understand that it was against Navy, who's not the most dominant program by any means at all, but the offense looked outstanding. I can't remember the last time I had so much confidence in a Notre Dame quarterback than I do with Sam Hartman right now. He had a few misplays, but overall looked awesome. It seems like he made all the right reads. Looked great with the new freshman receiver, Greathouse, who I should have talked about last week. Forgot to tell you guys about him, but he was a stud. Pretty sure he had 2 TDs in that game. And
Brett did call that from the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Give that shout out there. He did call out before the game even started. He was like, hey, watch out. We were together for the game. We were watching it.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, watch out for this freshman wide receiver. I think it was number 19, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And he showed out. I'll give you that.
Notre Dame's offense looks like it's clicking. The passing game was there. I'm excited to see what they can do against some tougher competition. So it's looking good. And Audric Estime, our running back, he played outstanding. He was just a bowling ball all game, just running through Navy tacklers. I think I saw he had like 12 broken tackles, which very impressive. He ran for over 100. Notre Dame did everything it took to win that game, and defense was a little shaky at first. It seemed like Navy was kind of moving the ball on them, but overall, I feel like once they kind of got settled in, Notre Dame built a lead. Sam Hartman, was putting points on the board. Defense put it together, only held Navy to 3 points, which they took at the end of the game just to not get shut out, essentially.
Yeah, you made a great point that it is Navy, and Navy does kind of suck this year. So you have to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, but I do believe, especially USC, but even the other difficult opponents you guys got this year, you're making it. We got 1-0 there.
We're just 1-0. That's all that matters.
Just want to know, striking a little bit more fear into probably those opponents that you guys got coming up. I know we'll get into USC in a second, but I'm more confident now that they're going to be able to beat USC this year. Clemson and Ohio State, I'm still a little bit on the edge about. But given what USC did and given how Notre Dame played this past weekend, I'm feeling pretty confident that Notre Dame might be able to steal a game there.
I mean, I don't even know if it's going to be considered stealing. The boys might be favored by then. We'll see.
At that point, who knows?
We got, I think Ohio State comes first, so that Ohio State game is going to show a lot, and I'm excited. I think we might catch you boys this year.
I'm also excited. September 23rd cannot come soon enough.
September 23rd. Circle it on your calendars, people. It's going to be a good day.
Speaking of USC, though,
yep,
they also had a very good game. Not quite as good as I said earlier. Not quite as good as Notre Dame, but their offense looked great. Zachariah Branch showed out as a true freshman and balled. He looked amazing. He's going to do some fantastic things for USC. Defense did look a little questionable as always, seemed a little allergic to tackling. Um, Obviously, it's week 0, and they're playing against a smaller opponent, so there are smaller factors that go into it. But how are you feeling about them, Brett?
USC's offense was unstoppable. It kind of seemed like they got off to a bit of a slow start, but like in that second half, or half, it was 21-14 USC, but second half, it was a completely different game. USC just has one of those offenses that can turn a game on its head immediately. I'm pretty sure they scored like 21 points in the third quarter, and then the game was out of reach from there. It was crazy because I was watching the first half and I was thinking like, USC's defense didn't look great at all, as you said, allergic to tackling. I don't understand why they have so much trouble with that. It's been a problem for them since last year, is that they just like cannot make tackles. Um, but it seemed like most of the big plays that San Jose State got was on the QB kind of scrambling. So they're going to have to patch that up because there's a couple runners in that Pac-12, a couple running QBs in the Pac-12, and if they can run all day on USC's defense, it looks like. So hopefully they can get it together. But yeah, what you said, Zachariah Branch, remember the name. Remember that name. He is going to be top tier talent in college football for the next 3 years. So, stay tuned. That guy, he took back a kick return, which I think was a huge, huge play for them. I think they really needed that kick return. Ended up scoring another touchdown on top of that. Great debut for the kid. Caleb Williams made already a candidate for play of the year. Fumbled the snap, picked it up, and threw a 70-yard touchdown. Just Caleb Williams doing what Caleb Williams does. It was awesome to see. So yeah, he's a early favorite for Heisman, right above Sam Hartman or Sam Heisman.
Sam Heisman did see the odds for him jumped up for the Heisman after that week 0 performance. So he's climbing away in the conversation. And Zachariah Branch, yeah. Lincoln Riley is going to find some very fun ways to use him this year as really just a utility guy that can do a whole lot. So I'm really excited to see what that offensive guru Lincoln Riley can do with him.
Yeah, I was getting a little bit of like Percy Harvin vibes from him. I feel like he's a guy kind of like Deebo Samuel that you could use. Put him in the backfield, put him out wide, put him in the slot. I think he's got a lot of talent, and if he's anything close to what Jordan Addison was, USC is going to be real good. And yeah, 56 points put up by their offense, very good. Just need that defense to really buckle it down, which hopefully throughout the year they can get a little bit better with their tackling because it's ass.
Yeah, that was looking rough. Some smaller though for this that week 0, we did have San Diego State beat Ohio 20-13.
It was our game of the week.
Well, I mean, smaller teams, I guess, not smaller game. I mean, rephrase that.
Yeah.
Smaller teams, a big game. It was a really good game till the end. San Diego State pulled away there at the end, but I was obviously hoping Ohio would pull it out because I did take Brett's bets last week, so I had some money going into that game. Unfortunately, it did not work out, but live again for another week.
Yeah, so I liked Ohio. Their QB went down at the end of the first quarter. He coming off a knee injury from last year, so it was a precautious pull they had on him. He wasn't gonna he wanted to go back in, but apparently they held him out, and I think they lost because of it.
He was
He,
reigning offensive player of the year for the MAC, wasn't he?
yeah, yes, he was. So kind of unfortunate that happened. I think they would have had him because Ohio's defense did play good. I'm only 20, but yeah, once Rourke was out of the game, Ohio's chances kind of slimmed out from there. And yeah, I don't really have much to say on this one. It wasn't. It wasn't it was our game of the week just because it was the two most evenly matched teams, but uh, unfortunately, my pick for it didn't work out. But
We'll blame that on it. Blame it on injuries.
yeah, I'm blaming it on the coach. Why'd he pull him?
Let him play if he wants to play.
Yeah, why not? Our last week 0 game in our recap was Vanderbilt Hawaii. Um, I gave the pick Vanderbilt minus, I believe it was 17.5, and they won by 7. This was honestly the best game all week. Very entertaining game, and I was rewatching and kind of like the highlight clips on YouTube, and I really thought Hawaii was going to come back. Honestly, like watching it, like Vandy's offense started out great, but it kind of seemed like they got a little too comfortable, and Hawaii started to creep their way back in, and unfortunately turned it over on a drive that could have won them the game or could have tied the game. But yeah, they played real good in Vandy. So
Yeah,
Kevin?
I was rooting for Hawaii once once Ohio lost. I was like, all right, well, then screw my bet. It's not going to hit. So I'm going for Hawaii in this one. They had, as you said, they gained some momentum back after Vandy fell asleep a little bit. But overall, great game to watch. It was an exciting one. Watch the highlights if you missed it. Fun one to go back and look at. But also not really much I have to say about that unless you got anything else to say about it.
Yeah, just that Vandy's looking like they're going to be in another season. They're at the bottom of the SEC. I think Hawaii was a team that they should have been able to crush, obviously, as that was my prediction. But, they put up a 35 spot, which is pretty good. The Hawaii defense wasn't that great. I wish that Vandy would have kept the foot on the gas a little bit because, yeah, it really seemed like Hawaii was like going to make a run for it there at the end. Unfortunate that their QB threw a pick. That would have been real exciting to see. But yeah, that's our week 0 recap. We're gonna get into our week 1 picks for you guys right now.
Yeah.
So this week, we're gonna have college football Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So it's gonna be a great weekend. Essentially, Labor Day game, even, which is gonna be nice. But our first game that we got to talk about is Florida at Utah. The Utes right now are minus 6.5. The line has already dropped 3 points with Cam Rising's knee injury kind of acting up again. And also, I believe there might be a little bit of a Florida push coming from their recent Swamp Kings documentary. I think that might have helped them a little bit with that. But I was set on when the line was at like 9.5. I really did like Utah with the points, but with I feel like as the game has been getting closer, I've been starting to lean a little bit more towards Florida. I'm not a really big fan of Florida this year, but I felt like it's just tough with Cam Rising. If he doesn't play, it's a brand new ball game, and I feel like it just it definitely evens it out. Cam Rising is a huge part of Utah and their football team. Probably one of their most beloved players of all time. If I had to guess, I'm not really aware with the history of Utah Utes quarterbacks. I
He
think
also
maybe
beat Utah a little bit.
Case Keenum went there. Let me fact check that real quick.
I can't remember, but the game is in Salt Lake City, so that gives obviously Utah an advantage there. I agree with you that if Cam Rising's in the game, I really don't see Florida making any run at this game. ESPN's got a 73.6% chance right now for Utah to win. I think that's obviously factoring in that Utah is still has Cam Rising starting. It'll be interesting to see if Graham Mertz can maybe have a little bit of a revitalization in Florida. We've seen some quarterbacks like Bo Nix, Michael Penix transfer and then get revitalized. Uh,
Burrow.
Burrow as well, but the other, those examples I feel like showed a little bit more. What would it be? A little bit more possibilities, a little bit more upside before they transferred, and then just kind of really shined. I didn't really see a whole lot of upside from Mertz going into Florida, so I'm not sold on it, and I think Utah will, kind of sweep this game.
So you like Utah with the points?
Yeah, I like Utah on this one.
Okay. Again, that game is going to be played on Thursday, August 31st. So stay tuned. The other Thursday game that we got to talk about is Nebraska at Minnesota. Minnesota is -7. And my pick for this one is I like the Huskers +7. I think Matt Rule is going to keep this game close. I don't think Minnesota is a dominant enough team really to blow out Nebraska. And I think Minnesota relied very heavily on their run game last year with Muhammad Ibrahim, who was top back in the Big Ten. And now that he's gone, also with Tanner Morgan being gone, there's going to be a new look for this Minnesota team with Ethan Kalmanakis at QB. One of my rival QBs in high school are for not my rival, but my high school's rival QBs to play him. But I expect Minnesota to take this game, but I think Nebraska is going to keep it within a touchdown. And yeah, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat there. I do think that your rival at Athan Kalimanakis is, or however you say his name. I think he'll be a bit of a step up from their quarterback last year, so hopefully they won't have to rely on the run as much. But with Matt Rule now taking over Nebraska, I think that the defense is going to be able to keep it close enough that they'll cover on this one. So I would also agree that I'll go with Nebraska on the points. But it's in Minneapolis. Minnesota has a little bit stronger of a team overall on the roster overall. ESPN right now is giving them a 67.4% chance to win the game. So I'm going with Minnesota wins, but Nebraska covers.
Cool. What's our Friday game there, Kevin?
Friday game is Battle of the Miamis. We got Miami, Ohio at Miami, Florida on Friday. Miami, Florida right now, ESPN's giving them an 89.6% chance of winning this one. What did you say the spread was on this?
It's Miami -16. Miami, Florida -16.5.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really good one. I think Miami, Florida comes out on top in this one. I think it's going to be closer than people expected. So I'm actually probably going to take Miami, Ohio on the points for this one. It is got a little bit of a rivalry here, being both Miami and plus Miami, Ohio's quarterback made some fun comments in an interview earlier this week about beating them this week. So there will be a little bit of heat going into the game. I think it's going to be better than people expect. I think Miami, Florida pulls it out, though.
Is Brett Gabbert their quarterback?
I don't remember his name. To be honest, I just saw him talking shit on Instagram.
Yeah. This game, kind of a coin flip with this spread. I don't really. It was Brett Gabbert who said that.
Okay.
I don't really have a definite pick in this one. I don't know how I feel about this Miami team. I think that they should, on paper, they should cover this spread. They got one of the team, like they've got good recruiting classes. They got a good coach with Mario Cristobal. Just gonna be a question on whether or not they can really perform in this or not. So I'm gonna say they do cover. I think I got Miami, Florida covering the 16.5. I think they'll step on them by 3 scores. There's actually another Friday game we should talk about. Louisville at Georgia Tech. Well, not at Georgia Tech, but they're playing at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Falcons Stadium. Louisville is -7.5. Brand new Louisville team this year. Louisville is essentially trying to become the new Purdue. They hired Purdue's coach. They got Jack Plummer, former Purdue quarterback, who just transferred to Cal last year. Now he's with the Cardinals. And a bunch of other transfers from Purdue went to Louisville. I believe Louisville takes them out. Jeff Brom's a good coach. I believe they should also. I think they should also cover the 7.5. Georgia Tech isn't really all that dangerous looking. I'm not too scared of Georgia Tech. And I look at their team last year. Anytime they really played anyone that was like remotely good, they were losing by 20. So I expect if Louisville can, I think Louisville can beat them by double digits. Hope they do. So Cardinals -7.5 Friday. Book it.
I agree with you on this one. I've always been a big believer that Purdue is typically underrated, especially going into a season, but usually throughout the season. And with Louisville being the new Purdue, that belief is kind of transferred over. And as you said, Georgia Tech is just not a very scary team. So I think Louisville might be able to run it up on them, and take the spread take the points, I should say, for Louisville.
All right, in our Saturday games, a big one to talk about: Ohio State at Indiana. All right, and if you want my pick for this one, let me show you, boys. Give me the Hoosiers +30.5, baby. I'm kidding. That's completely off script. I just wanted to mess with you, Kevin.
No, that was fair. I was kind of 50-50. I was like, he's either going to screw with me here and he's going to go with Indiana, or he's going to take the smart pick.
No, I don't really have a play. I don't really like touching the 30-point spread. That's always kind of a crapshoot. But in recent history, I would definitely take Ohio -30.5 in this one. But with the quarterback controversy right now and how that's kind of playing out, I'd probably just stay away from that one. But I did just want to mess with you there. And
I didn't even know you had an Indiana shirt, to be honest. But I also didn't think you had anything Ohio State, so I just didn't really know what to expect.
I don't have anything Ohio State, but you can help me out.
I was about to say I'll have to change that. But with this Ohio State game, I do agree that 30.5 is just kind of hard to touch. Like, that is a lot of points to cover, no matter what team it is. And with the quarterback battle going on, it might kind of affect that. Well, obviously, as you said before, this Ohio State offense, they've got weapons galore. So if I had to choose, I honestly probably would say take Ohio State, even though there's obviously a bias there. But I think that's more so based on the fact that I think our defense is going to play a lot better than people expect. Not that Ohio State's had a terrible defense in recent years, but they haven't been the defense that they've had since 2019 with Chase Young and with the Bosas. I think a year or two under Jim Knowles, I expect them to be flying all over the field. I expect 2-3 sacks, 1-2 turnovers. 3, maybe 7 points let up in this game. So hopefully the defense can keep it low enough that the offense, even with what they're going to be testing out and experimenting with, that they'll still cover that 30.5.
Notre Dame blew out Navy. Ohio State going to blow out Indiana. Kind of how I was expecting.
Another 42-3.
What's up?
Another 42-3 score. I could see it.
I would be upset as an Ohio State fan if they only put up 42.
Well, they're going to be doing some experimenting. They're going
Yeah,
to be testing things out. So
true. But yeah, I expect them to roll Indiana. Doesn't seem like they've have had any problems with Indiana in the past, so they should. Our next game, is this game? No, this isn't game of the week. But my biggest upset of the week prediction, we got Colorado at TCU. TCU is minus 20.5, but I'm going to tell you what, go ahead and take Colorado money line. All right. I am on the Deion bandwagon. All right. I see all the hate. I see all the people saying that this is one of the worst rosters in college football. They are sleeping on my boy. There is no coach. I mean, there's a couple coaches, but Deion's got to be in my top 5 coaches that I would want to play for. If you think that he's just going to have these boys like not ready to play, you're dead fucking wrong. Colorado is ready to go. I think plus 20.5 is an absolute lock. There's no way they lose by three touchdowns. But the money line, it's obviously not the smartest bet to take, but great value on it. And I think this like I don't know, I'm not really all that high on TCU right now. I think they lost a lot of their key pieces that they had last year. Max Duggan, who was kind of like, again, their backbone, their leader, he's gone to the NFL. Their top running back, Kendre Miller, he's gone to the NFL. Top receiver, Quentin Johnson, he's gone to the NFL. Defensive pieces also going to the NFL. Like, this is not the same TCU team. So I expect Colorado to be in this game 100%. I have faith in Shader. I have faith in Travis Hunter. And most importantly, I got faith in Prime. Give me the Buffaloes.
I agree with you about 99.9% on this one. I'm not high on TCU this season as well. As you said, all of their key pieces are gone. And I am high on Colorado. I think their roster is a lot better than people expect. I think, as you said, Prime is going to have them ready for this game. It is in Fort Worth, which is always due to note who's got the home field advantage. So TCU will have that. ESPN's got TCU at a 91.8% odds to win this game, which I was shocked to see. I thought that was really high. I think the spread is an easy one on this one. Obviously, Colorado is not going to get beat by 3 or more touchdowns. I think that's a given. To say that Colorado is going to win the game, I think might be a bit of a stretch. I do like Sonny Dykes, the coach for TCU. I think he's also going to have TCU prepared for this game. They're going to be ready to go. I think it'll be a bit of a battle, and I think that TCU pulls it out in this one. Just because Colorado for this, they're just such a toss-up. It's hard for me to put them as my upset pick for this week. But they were a close second, I should say, for my upset pick this week.
I mean, another thing about TCU, they lost Garrett Riley, who was their offensive play caller.
That's true.
I don't know. I don't think TCU is going to be – it seemed like TCU kind of it was like they were one of the luckiest teams last year. Like, the balls were falling their way. I don't think this is going to happen back-to-back years. I don't think TCU is even going to be ranked at the end of the season. Bold prediction. So, but yeah, it's going to start with Colorado keeping up in this game. They had the number 1 ranked transfer transfer portal recruiting, and they also had a top 25 recruiting class. So I expect this new Colorado team. Again, I know they're probably going to have some growing pains as like it is kind of a brand new team, but like I do have faith that they're going to be able to compete with TCU at TCU. So yeah, as I said, give me the Buffaloes. Sco Buffs. Shout out my boy Vaughn. All right. Whew. What game we got next? Okay.
My upset pick for the next game
Uh,
on the
yeah,
upset alerts.
yeah. Why not?
All right,
Who's on upset alert?
Upset alert for my pick. I got South Carolina upsetting North Carolina. ESPN's got a 57.4% chance right now of North Carolina winning. It is at a neutral site at Panther Stadium in Charlotte.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did I say?
You said in Charlotte, and I just added that it was in North Carolina. Yeah.
Anyways, North Carolina's got some more returning starters, but I do like some of the transfers that South Carolina's got. They added Jerome Willis at edge to help out the defense. They got a returning true freshman All-American safety on defense that will hopefully be able to make some stops, as well as they added a couple of tight ends and an offensive tackle through the transfer portal that are going to be able to help out Spencer Rattler. I do think it's going to be a bit of a shootout for this game. Expect a lot of points being scored. Expect a big QB battle between Drake May and Spencer Rattler. But I think South Carolina's defense will be able to play a bend, don't break style defense in this game, get a few more stops than North Carolina's defense is going to be able to. And I think South Carolina pulls off a little bit of an upset early on in the season.
Yeah. At the end of the season last year, it was a tale of two cities between these two teams. South Carolina took down, Clemson and Tennessee back-to-back weeks, while North Carolina went on a 4 or 5 game losing streak to end the season. So playing off that, I believe South Carolina is the better team here. Better value, definitely, with South Carolina as well. I don't see why you wouldn't take them from terms of North Carolina having the better quarterback or the more polished quarterback, along with a more experienced head coach. I think gives them the why they're favored, but I think South Carolina is winning this game. I think they got just a solid team coming this year again, and I think Spencer Rattler is not going to lose this one. So I agree with you. Give me the Gox.
What's the spread on this one? Do you know?
North Carolina minus 2.5.
Oh, okay. Then, yeah, you might as well just take South Carolina money line.
Yeah. But, yeah, other Saturday games that we got picks for. Let's see. Fresno State at Purdue. Purdue is only minus 3.5. Fresno State last year was undefeated with quarterback Jake Hayner, who is not there anymore. So I believe Purdue covers the 3.5. I think this is kind of a disrespectful line to them at this point. I think they're a much better program. I'm a big fan of Hudson Card. I think he's going to have that offense right, and I don't think Fresno State's defense is really all that good to stop them. Purdue hiring a defensive coach in Ryan Walters, definitely going to elevate that defense. So I think the right pick here is definitely Purdue minus 3.5.
This one I'm very back and forth on personally. I'm kind of opposite of you. I'm not very high on Purdue this year. I feel like they lost a lot. They do have a lot of potential going forward with the future. So I like Purdue down the line. But they lost a lot this past offseason. There's going to be a lot of retooling going on. I think Fresno State might be able to take advantage of that and pull off an upset here in week 1.
Okay. I see how it is. Next game, I got a pick for you on West Virginia at Penn State. The line is Penn State minus 20.5, and I believe you take that. I like the Lions in this one. I think that they're at home. It's a night game against a border state rival. I don't know if you want to call it a rivalry, but border state rival, so definitely means something. I think West Virginia got weaker this year. I thought JT Daniels was kind of a big reason they were in games last year, with him being kind of a college vet at quarterback, if you will. But I just think this Penn State team is so dominant that I don't think West Virginia stands a chance. Last year, when Penn State played really anyone that was not really close to their level, they played exactly how they should. They dominated them, and I think Penn State will win this one by 3 touchdowns.
100% agree. I think couldn't have been said any better. Not much else really to be said about it. Penn State has a dominant team coming into the season. They're going to dominate this week 1 game. I take them in the spread for that one, the 20.5. They're winning by easily more than 3 touchdowns.
And our nightcap game for Saturday, we got Coastal Carolina at UCLA. The spread is currently at UCLA minus 13.5. This game will be played at the Rose Bowl. I like Coastal Carolina in this one. I like Grayson McCall. I think he's been nothing but amazing for Coastal Carolina in his time as a starter. I was happy to see him go back there. Rather than kind of going to, a school that he might not play at, because I think he is a gamer, and I think he's going to be able to keep up with UCLA. I think UCLA is very similar to USC, where their defense is not as strong. So I feel like they should be able to keep up with with UCLA in this one. So yeah, give me the chance plus 13.5.
I agree as well with this one. Similar to Purdue, I like UCLA's future, but they're losing a lot of the tools that they had last year, so they're going to be retooling. I do like Chip Kelly, so I never like to count Chip Kelly out. The guy's a football genius. But I think Coastal Carolina will end up pulling it off with a more complete team and just a more familiar team.
Our Sunday pick, which is an absolute boxing match of a game. 2 teams that played super entertaining game last year. One of the game of the years, which happened week 1. LSU, Florida State. Currently, Florida State is plus 2.5. This game is being played in Jacksonville at the Jaguars field. I believe it's TIAA Bank Stadium, if I'm not mistaken. As you know, I'm very high on LSU this year. I'm also very high on Florida State. So I expect this game to be very close. But I do like the Tigers in this one. I think they're going to get their revenge. Last year they lost. The block PAT ended up being the deciding factor. And I think LSU this year, they're coming in a lot more complete. I wouldn't say a lot more complete, but I think LSU is more complete this year. And I see Jaden Daniels now in his second year in the Brian Kelly offense, really kind of getting a groove on it. So I believe LSU is going to pull this one out and split the series with Florida State.
I would say a lot more complete for LSU. I agree that I think LSU is going to pull this one out. I don't think they're going to have much of a hard time. I'm not hating on FSU, but I not nearly as high as them as a lot of other people are going into this season. They had a stretch of wins at the end of last year where they played Georgia Tech, Miami, Syracuse, Louisiana, Florida, and Oklahoma. All of those were wins, but when I think there's only one of those teams that ended the season with a winning record. So I think Florida State's got a little bit more hype than they should have. They have a good team, but I think LSU is a really complete team. I think the win last year was a bit of a fluke with LSU, still kind of getting on their feet with Brian Kelly. So I don't think LSU is going to really have any problem with Florida State this year. It should be maybe not a blowout, but I think they'll handle them really well.
Yeah, our picks, LSU money line has got good value on it. If you don't want to lay the 2.5, but I'll take LSU minus 2.5.
Me as well.
And our final game that we got for you, the Labor Day game, Clemson at Duke. Kind of a exciting game, I feel like. Duke is a team that's kind of looking to make a statement. They got a chance here, week 1. They are plus 13.5 versus Clemson. Man, this is a tough one. What happened when they played last year? I need to check.
I can't remember.
Oh, they didn't. They didn't play last year. Okay.
Oh. I feel like I remember them playing last year, but I'm confusing something.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Personally, though, I think I was a little bit higher on Clemson than most in this offseason, and I'm kind of getting higher and higher on Clemson as we get closer to the season. I don't think I've ever seen someone with the last name Riley have a bad quarterback. So Garrett Riley is going to do great things with Cade Klubnik. That offense is going to be revitalized. That Clemson defense is going to be that Clemson defense that we're used to seeing. I think Dabo is going to come out and make a big statement against Duke. And I would not be surprised if Clemson, blew them out of the water a little bit here.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take Duke plus 13.5 in this one. I think Riley Leonard is a polished quarterback, and I think he's going to be looking to kind of cement his name into the NFL draft process. I think he has the ability to be a quarterback that's selected next year, and I think this is going to be a big game towards that. So I expect him to be playing at his best. I know Duke isn't really the greatest football crowd, but week 1 versus Clemson, I feel like that's going to still be kind of an exciting game for them, especially being on Labor Day. Monday night game for them. It's something you rarely see in college football, and I expect it to be close.
Interesting.
With Duke last year being 9-4, Riley Leonard just guy's a great quarterback overall. Let's see who they lose. Yeah, I mean,
it's a bold prediction.
Yeah. I'm feeling it. Go Blue Devils! They're one of my favorite college basketball teams. Might as well ride them in college football. I think Clemson will win. Don't get me wrong. They should definitely win, but
yeah,
with the spread at kind of the 2 touchdown mark, I think Duke can keep up and keep it close, especially at home. They're really trying to turn this football program around. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's all we had for you.
Yeah, that's all we got. Thank you guys for listening. Hopefully this week, not hopefully. This week I will be better, I promise. The 1-3 last week.
It was a warm-up week.
It was a fluke. Yeah, I mean, it's a fluke. I feel like once you get to watch the team once, you'll start to get a better understanding of how they'll play. So I feel like we'll just be getting better as the season goes. But I feel good with my picks for this week. I think you guys should tail them.
I ditto that for the most part.
For the most part, yeah. We disagreed on some, but for the most part, I felt like we were pretty much on the same page for this week. Stay tuned. Next week, we should have 2 episodes coming out for you. One will be kind of an episode like this, the week 0 or the week 1 recap, week 2 preview. And then the other one, we're going to do an NFL preview for the season, kind of talk about, what teams we like going to the playoffs, what players we like maybe winning some awards, who's going to get that silverware. So, yeah, stay tuned. Got fun times coming ahead. Football season is about to kick off. Week 1 for college football right around the corner. Be able to see all our favorite teams play again. Notre Dame going to go 2-0. So, yeah.
Yeah, as always, thank you guys for listening. Like, subscribe, comment, ask questions, give suggestions, wherever you want. Love it. Always love interacting. And just excited that, next time we'll be seeing you guys, we'll be officially in the college football season. We'll be heads down going at it, and I'm just excited to officially start it out.
But how we'll do this. Comment. We'll pick one person out of the comments. We'll have you on next week to give us a game pick. How about that? Sound good?
Some celebrity pick. I love it.
Yeah, we'll get a celeb in from one of you guys who are listening now. Comment below. Whatever you want. Say hi. What's up?
Anything. Tell a joke.
We'll take one of those, and we'll have you on next week for a pick. So, yeah. Again, thank you all for listening, watching. Make sure to follow us on Twitter or X at Pylon2 Pylon Pod. 2 is the number. And yeah, have a good day, night, week, weekend, month, fall. Fall's around the corner.
Wherever you guys are at.
All right. Later.